the Old Nene at March today in darkest Cambridgeshire. It's probably one of the most talked about venues through the winter, just because of how good it is as a venue. Obviously from October the fish migrate from the surrounding drains, the wider ones, into the town here where it's a bit safer, warmer and tucked away from predators. And it's been fishing exceptionally well year on year. It gets better and better. The match weights get bigger and bigger, especially this time of year in the autumn where the fish haven't been as caught as much and not as much angling pressure, so you can be really aggressive and catch some big weights. I mean, recently the East Midlands Winter League was one with 65 pound of little hand-sized skimmers by Liam Darler. Fantastic weight, which is a new record for the venue. And having grown up in March, I've seen the venue change slightly over sort of, I suppose, the sort of 18 years I've been fishing competitively in the matches here, and it's gone from being a dominant bread and hemp venue to more of a loose feed and ground bait and pinky venue, just because of the numbers of other fish in the river now. There's more perch, there's more rudd, there's skimmers, there's just more of everything, so you sort of can't be too selective sometimes. But then on the other hand, you have to be selective to catch the right stamp fish. My standard approach at March doesn't really change through the season. Normally start short, depending on the area I'm fishing. Majority of the time it'll be ground bait and pinky. If the river was flowing, then sort of cupping ground bait in with a few pinkies in and fishing it out and making that line last for as long as possible. I think you probably, unless you're on a real flyer, you're probably only going to make that line last for maybe an hour and a half if you're very lucky. I think after that sort of point, the fish naturally progress across the drain in that little bit shallower water where they feel a little bit more confident. I think it's maybe a little bit warmer, which is the line that I'm fishing now. Normally I would start with a nice big pot full of hemp. Decent hemp is a must on this venue, and getting hold of it can be quite difficult sometimes, but some nice freshly cooked hemp. I normally put 1 or 2 pots depending on the area that I'm fishing. In the more bagging areas I'll probably put 2 potfuls across at the start, and the lesser areas I'll probably put just the 1. Normally when I first go across, I'll have a look on the hemp, see what's happening. If your luck's in, the hemp will carry on going, but normally you'll pick it up, catch 2 or 3 fish, and it goes a bit quiet. So I tend to start a loose feed match, so pinkies or squats, depending on the colour and pace, obviously. If it's got a bit more colour, then I'll probably start with a few pinkies, not too many, and just feel my way into it. Some days you can be really aggressive and feed loads and loads of bait, and even though it's flowing hard, they'll come and sit right underneath your feed some days when they're having it properly. And that's the average stamp that you're looking to catch. Nice sort of 2 ounce fish, 3 ounce maybe. When you can catch them quick, you can soon put a weight together. Best hook baits, pinkies, squats as the day progresses. Double pinky sometimes a better hook bait. Just keep varying your depths as well. Even though the river might drop, you'll probably still find you'll catch quite a way off the deck. And you're just trying to create that column of bait, keep going through the water and get the fish competing. You'll catch skimmers, roach, everything, to be honest. Perch as well. Once you start catching perch, it's not normally a good sign. It normally means the roach and skimmers are backed away. But just a simple tactical change, dropping down your peg or ease up on the bait, or come a bit shallower and you can carry on catching. There we are, look, there's a perch, look, time to move. So yeah, it has changed. Before it was always bread and hemp, and now for me it's definitely a loose feed job. And don't stop feeding. Even when you're not catching, keep putting a bit of bait in. Wind's a bit of a nightmare today. And you tend to find you'll catch in spells, so you'll catch 5 or 6 fish really quick where they come right up looking for the bait, and then you have a little lull period where you think you're not catching, but when the fish come in your peg, you can catch really quick and you can soon put a weight together. So those days where the hemp does go and you're on a real pile of fish, lots of anglers have their own perception of how to fish hemp and how to feed it. It's one of those baits, it can be really tricky to hook, and if you start missing bites, it's coming in and out, it's wasting time. There's lots of different ways. Obviously the traditional way of fishing hemp is to just put the hook into the split and just twist it slightly so the hook's showing. I mean, for me, that's probably the best way. You don't tend to lose many fish. The other way is obviously pinning it, so just piercing the part where the hemp would connect to the pod and putting your hook through there, and you can probably catch 5 or 6 fish on the same grain of hemp. For me, I'm not a fan of that. It is fast, but you tend to lose fish, bump fish, and I don't know, I think the new Fjuka micros is something that we're going to try today. It's small, black, in 3mm. You can hook it just like a maggot, very, very quick, and maybe it's something that if anglers are struggling with the hemp sea to get on the hook, it might be worth a try. Obviously there's lots of matches won on hemp at March, and being efficient and sort of not missing bites and just being quicker than anyone else is a big thing on the Old Nene. And when you're hemp fishing, obviously it takes a bit of time to hook. You miss a few bites, perhaps because it's not been hooked properly. So we're going to give the Fjuka 3mm black micros a go and just see if it just speeds the whole job up. And in a match situation, you know, if you can be more efficient, hit more bites, you're going to put more fish in the net, and maybe the difference between a match second or third and a match win. So a couple of hours into the session now, and we started short and had a real good run of fish short on the bread before it died off like we thought. Sort of 4mm bit of punch, or tried the 3mm Fjuka white micro, and it just looked exactly like a 4mm bit of bread. We've caught a few on that. It's been quite sort of refreshing, really. It's probably a little bit quicker than fishing bread, a little bit heavier, so it does fall a bit quicker. That's probably the only difference between the two, really. And yeah, we just caught a few fish on it. It's been a bit different. As we predicted, fish have backed off quite quickly to sort of 11 metres in sort of 2.5 foot water. And we fed some hemp there early, and we've caught a few fish on the hemp, and you can see the advantages if you can catch really well on the Fjuka black 3mm. When they slightly go wet, they go like slightly purple and look very much like a tear. They're probably the same consistency as a tear as well, just a little bit smaller, so you don't miss as many bites like you perhaps would with a tear. And you sort of slip a 3mm on, catch 2 or 3 on it quickly, and then go back to loose feeding squats and pinkies, and the levels dropped a little bit as we've been fishing, so we're probably fishing about 6 inches off the bottom now. And hasn't been easy. I think the fish have sort of wised up a little bit, and you get little runs of fish on everything, really. And I think if there was a lot of fish feeding here today, the 3mm would be definitely worth considering, just because they're quicker to put on, and they stay on the hook as well. So, you know, if you're missing bites, it's just straight back in. You're not wasting time as such. So yeah, it's been an interesting session, and trying the Fjukas is definitely different. And I think, you know, maybe we'll see a few match anglers trying it and taking advantage. So the long line, when the fish have progressed, I've fed a few of the 3 mils in with my hemp, and just so there's a few of the Fjukas in there, just to show them the bait. And it's noticeable every time I put one on, I get a little run of fish straight away on it. And like all the baits today, really, you get a little run of fish, and then you have to change your depth, or you have to keep switching about. And it's just been an eye-opener, really. And when they got a bit of water on them, they do go that purpley colour, like a tear. So definitely worth considering when you're having a real red letter day. Or if you're struggling with hemp, it's perfect hook bait, nice and simple, and easy to hook. So definitely anglers perhaps should have a look, give it a try, and see what they think. So we've finished the session, and it's been really enjoyable, and it's been interesting to see how the, especially the black 3 mil Fjuka has worked. And I've potted some more hemp and some 3 mils in, and as the days goes on and the light started to fade, then better roach and hybrids have really had a feed. And I've caught on hemp, and I've put the black little 3 mil on, and it was just laying the rig in, it's going under, and it was really interesting to see how quick it was. You know, you weren't missing as many bites because it was fairly soft, and I think the fish just think it's like a little tear, especially when, you know, when it's been in the water for a few more seconds, it just gets goes a purpley colour, like a tear. And been pretty impressed with them, to be honest. Definitely I'm going to keep in my bag for those red letter days where, you know, you're catching really well on hemp and you just need to be quicker than anyone else. Tried the white ones down the middle and caught very well on it in the time that I could catch down the middle. I think with the bankside disturbance and that, the fish have naturally progressed across, so perhaps I'd like to have a bit more of a play with the white ones when I'm bread fishing. And yeah, all in all, it's one of them baits I think you just got to have in your bag for one of them days when there's a lot of fish in your peg and it's just quicker to hook. And yeah, it's been a strange day, but they've definitely caught me some fish at the end.